In this video, I'll talk a little bit about your reading assessment. I'll go through the instructions and then I'll talk about the assessment itself. So, number one point, this assessment isn't for marks. The whole point of this reading assessment is to give your instructor an idea of where you're starting the course. They can give you some feedback, they can maybe give you some direction in the course. Most importantly, though, it helps us determine if this course is appropriate for you, just to make sure you're in the right place. Going through the rest of the instructions, it says you have a total time of 80 minutes. Now, you might not use that whole time, but make sure you have that whole time available. Once you start the assessment, you can't pause and come back a couple hours later. Once you hit start, the time starts. So just make sure you're away from distractions and have that time. Like with the writing assessment, we ask that you don't use external resources. Maybe let's say there's like a word you're unsure about or something. Just do the best you can on your own, because again, this is an assessment of where you are at the start of the course. I mean, if you're looking stuff up and filling in blanks, it's not really an accurate or honest representation of where you're starting. And your instructor really just wants to see, where are you day one? So again, don't use external resources. And for the same reasons, work independently. The main goal is to see where you're starting the course. Also, like always, we check for plagiarism, we check for cheating. So just make sure to refer to the Academic Integrity Pledge if you have any questions about that. Let's get started here. As usual, Moodle calls it a quiz. It says attempt quiz now. It's not a quiz. It's an initial assessment. That's not for marks. That's just what Moodle calls it, but I will hit attempt. When I hit attempt, it says, are you sure you got the hour and 20 minutes? You have those 80 minutes available to you? I do. I'm going to hit start. As usual, there'll be a little timer in the top right-hand corner if you ever want to double check where you are. Don't try to focus on it too much. I know it can kind of be distracting for some people. But also here is the quiz navigation. This is my first chance to see, okay, there are 27 questions. This first reading here, it's called From Adventures in Two Worlds. It's this first I here. If I move down, so after question 10, there's another I. If I click on that, it will be the next reading. There we are. This is an excerpt from a play. And if I click down on the third I, it will take me to the third reading. So you can navigate around a little bit of this. If you want to go to a specific question, like maybe I want to jump to question 8, I could do that too. But you can also use this next page to move to the next reading. So right now I'm on the first reading. As you're going through, you might notice a couple things are highlighted. Some might be like this word crofter here. When I click on that word, it pops over a definition. A crofter is one who cultivates a small tenant farm. So that is their definition of a crofter. If I jump down a little bit, maybe something like fosses, there's a definition. It's the cavity at the back of a mouth. In either case, these are just definitions that the exam makers think will be useful. Just less common words, just to make sure you're on the same page about what's going on in the story. As I scroll down, some other things are highlighted in red here. Anything that is like a quotation, or this one here, like it says the initial descriptions of weather. If I click on that, it will pop me up to that initial description of weather. If I scroll back down to another one, maybe this line, strangely, Jamie. If I click on that, it will pop me up to the line that includes those phrases. So if you're down here, if you're looking for a specific quote, this will always pop you back up to right around where that quote occurs. So let's say maybe, I don't know, for number 10, for example, or I'll just guess a couple here. I just want to have a couple filled in. So I'll just fill in a few randomly. Let's say I've finished all the readings. I can hit finish attempt. Now, this doesn't mean I'm done. My timer hasn't stopped, because if you'll notice, it takes me to this page. Now, for me, obviously, I didn't really answer very many. So most of mine say, not yet answered. I do have a couple that are answer saved, the ones I did answer there, randomly clicked. But this is your chance just to double check that, oh, maybe I missed one, or you thought you clicked C, and then it says there's, it's not yet answered. So this is just your chance to go back through, triple check that you have answers saved for all of them. If not, like maybe, I don't know, number 1, it says I didn't. I could always click here on number 1 and quiz navigation. I could click over here, but I will jump back to number 1, for example. Maybe just throw a random answer in there. Click finish attempt again. Let's pretend I've filled them all in. When I'm totally done, this is my chance to hit submit all and finish. I'll hit submit all. Might take a second. Now, I'm not going to see my mark. Again, the goal here isn't, we're not really looking for a mark that's not actually marked, but you will get some feedback. There will there will be a little bit of feedback down below here, just to give you an idea of where you're starting. Again, it's not for marks. You don't get a mark. But just to give you kind of an idea of overall where you're sitting, maybe some feedback from your instructor will be waiting there. So when you're done that, you can go back to the course and get started with the actual course. Good luck. If you have any questions about the writing assessment or the reading assessment, be sure to reach out to your instructor.